What's up, everyone? It's Sunday morning. It's another BRAP rant. We're going to have an honest conversation this morning about Halo Infinite and some of the reaction that I've been seeing on the Twitter, social media about some of the issues with Halo Infinite. But before we do that, let's officially get the show kicked off right now. All right, everyone. Thank you again for hanging out with me this morning. I really appreciate the support as always. By the way, if you hadn't had a chance to check out this past week's BRAP rant, and great show. Also check out this week's Crossfire on Mooch's channel. Great show as well. We had a great conversation regarding this particular topic regarding Halo Infinite. And do me a favor, I dropped the link in the live chat. If everyone could be so kind to kind of go on to Twitters and retweet the link. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Again, appreciate the support as always. We're almost at 3,000 subs. Let's get BRAP to 3,000 subs. And, we get there. We'll do a nice little giveaway too. So look, I don't know where to begin here. Well, obviously, look, first of all, if you're a professional wrestling fan, I don't refer to as sports entertainment the way WWE does. I got to say, AEW has brought back a lot of excitement to professional wrestling that just hasn't been there for me, at least, in a long time. And I think for other people too. There's this certain level of excitement that promotion has really just that I haven't felt since like the mid 90s with the NWO and Hall Nash showing up to see CM Punk, and I haven't heard a pop that loud live. I mean, the United Center erupted. I mean, they were chanting CM Punk after the show went, right when the show went live, and after the broadcast team kind of made the introduction to Rampage. But wow. And I was watching SummerSlam a little bit yesterday, and it's funny, like I heard the announcement, oh my God, Brock Lesnar's back, he's back, like making it a big deal. And I'm like, guys, this ain't it. No, this isn't it. And whilst I agree with you, NXT is the best part of WWE. I agree with you 100% there. I just feel like they are not taking advantage of NXT. And, like, sure, seeing Becky Lynch come back at SummerSlam last night, that was a kind of a big surprise, but neither her or Brock coming back was as exciting as seeing CM Punk in AEW and just hearing that pop from the fan base. So anyhow, I'm really excited. And it sounds like, they still have Daniel Bryan, and it sounds like they're going to possibly bring in Ric Flair, and they may be signing Bray Wyatt apparently too. So, this is going to be interesting. This is going to get really interesting. And I just like I don't know. I just like the wrestling aspect of AEW. I just think they're a better product right now. I just WWE isn't necessarily clicking with me. NXT is more so than the Raw and SmackDown brands. But anyhow, Wowza says I totally agree. Vince needs to leave. Yeah, Vince. I don't know. Maybe he needs to leave. Maybe I mean, no one. Look, the guy is clear. I mean, look, the guy's he put wrestling on the map. He made it more mainstream, and he's got a track record. But maybe it's time for him to go. I don't know. But so I want to get to Halo Infinite. So we got some pretty bad news this week, Friday, as a matter of fact, that the co-op campaign and Forge and that Forge are going to they're not launching at when this game launched. So co-op campaign and Forge are delayed I believe they're going to be coming out the second season of Halo Infinite, so potentially 6 months after release, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, this sucks. Not exactly the news that I wanted to hear. I do like co-op campaign. Um, so look, a while back, when we had Optimus Code on. What's up? Oh no, it's Alex's. Get that busy ready. I got a video dropping on Tuesday. Uh, so so we get this news, and yeah, it's unfortunate. Like it sucks. I'm just trying to, this is wild. I bought an so okay. All jokes aside, I always tell people I was original Xbox Live beta tester. Um, and I bought an Xbox back in 2020, not 2020. I'm sorry, 2001. For November 15th, 2001, for Halo Combat Evolved. That's what propelled me to get an Xbox, right? And Robert Evans talking some professional wrestling talk. They jobbed out Bianca and to Becky, diminishing her return. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Bianca's going to turn heel though. Anyhow, I'm not going to get to wrestling talk right now. I may do like a wrestling like BRAP rant one day. Anyhow, so I got Halo because I got the Xbox, the original Xbox, because of Halo. Halo literally, and I want to bring this up because this is going to tie into something I'm talking about later on. Halo literally transformed the industry, put FPS games on the console map. Let me tell you something. For some of you guys some of you ladies and gentlemen out there who are, maybe younger than I am, I'm 44. I've been gaming since I was like 5 years old on the Atari 2600. So I've seen this kind of evolution of gaming. And if you were playing first-person shooters, you were primarily playing on PC, which was kind of cool to see Quake announced, that Quake remaster that's on PlayStation right now, which is kind of cool because back in the days, like, before there was Nvidia, like you wanted to get like a Voodoo card in your PC. And like it was Unreal Tournament, and then there was Quake, and Quake was Quake was it. Quake was it. Quake was amazing. And Halo was originally announced at the Apple event in 1998. Steve Jobs actually showed it off. I forget the name of the Apple event. But Steve Jobs actually announced the game in 1998 on Apple stage, and then Microsoft would come in later on and they would buy Bungie, and then Bungie would be Halo would be would really be the game that put the Xbox on the mark. So Halo really transformed the console industry and just really had the kind of impact that I don't think Microsoft has had in a first party exclusive in 20 years. Maybe Gears got close to that, but when you thought of Halo, there was never a question of whether this game would be a game of the year contender. There would never be a question about what the reviews are going to be like. You almost expected tens everywhere. Because the first Halo got tens. You were thinking nines, tens, For the people that say all those things don't matter, they do matter. The optics of those things do matter. They may not matter to you because you're this fictional console war, but they do matter. They matter for marketing purposes. If you don't think they matter, publishers, right or wrong, will put in bonuses so that games hit certain Metacritic scores because those things matter from an optics perspective. And if you could get a general consensus among people who generally have different taste in gaming about the quality of a game, that's good. That's good. Um, so just remember what I just talked about right now, what I just mentioned, because this is going to lead into what I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. But I think about a year ago, maybe we had Optimus Code on, and I hate giving Optimus Code props because he's old and grumpy, and he's part of this weird Pegasus Nation thing. I don't even understand that. um, but he mentioned that they were. Let me sec here, guys. He mentioned that they were issues. There were issues with the co-op campaign and multiplayer because, from a development perspective, because they had to account for different hardware. So remember we talked about, you know, the lower common, the lower common denominator can really kind of hold back design and throw a wrench in things and that kind of stuff. And so Code was kind of commenting to that, and I think this was a year ago. And apparently internally, the team at 343i did not want to make Halo for last generation hardware. They wanted to make this game for the Xbox Series X only. And I gotta be honest with you, I think that Microsoft should have totally been like, hey, you know what? Sorry guys, this is our marquee franchise. This is what put us on the map. We want the best version of that game on the Series X, the machine that eats monsters, the 12 teraflop juggernaut. That's what we want. And actually, they did want that internally. They wanted to focus on making Halo Infinite only on next generation consoles. But they didn't do that. And I remember Code getting some crap about it because people were saying, oh, well, you know, they do this on PC all the time. The graphics can scale. Things like that. And I'm trying to find this tweet from Code, by the way. Hold on a sec here. Because I don't want to misquote him, but all right, I can't find it. I don't know. Hold on a sec here. Let me go. No, I can't find it for some reason. Anyhow, so long story short, again, they were having some issues because of, you know, taking the multiple, having to you know, develop for multiple hardware SKUs and stuff like that. And so anyhow, so they've had some issues. And so, and this is a byproduct of that. So here we are. And the other thing too is what's interesting is that they wanted to launch this game a year ago. What exactly were they going to give us a year ago? What were they going to give us? I mean, think about that. What were they going to give us if we have Forge and the co-op campaign being delayed? We saw how the game looked last year, and had people not said, "Wait a minute, guys, this ain't it." They probably would have released the game. But I think internally too, I think this studio's been having some issues with this game. There is rumblings out there that the team at 343i is tired. They're tired of crunch. They wanted to delay the campaign and just launch the multiplayer, and Microsoft's like, no, we can't have that. And I understand why Microsoft would probably say no, because they can't, the optics of it, right? Want to get the super chat from MV Dub, $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says makes you wonder what Halo Infinite would have been missing if it was released at the Xbox Series launch. That's right. I mean, like, what would this game look like? It's an honest question. I mean, it's seriously, what would this game look like? I mean, I can't even imagine. And here's what's happening. Look, I like Game Pass. I think Game Pass is a good deal, and I subscribe to it. But what you're seeing now, and what Microsoft needs to be careful of, is that there's this narrative out there now, and I'm hearing it. I'm hearing other podcasters talk about it. I'm hearing people say, tweeting this in the gaming community. I'm hearing that people are saying, oh, well, this is the Game Pass effect. That Microsoft, if they would have launched this game in Game Pass, they would have just launched it there, multiplayer, and they just would have kind of fixed it, right? They would have fixed it. Because it's a Game Pass, because you're not going out and paying $60, $70 retail for a game that's not complete per se. And I get that. I get that rationalization of, or I understand where people might arrive to that conclusion, because there's because it's like, hey, you know what? We you're not paying $70 and hey, Z Black Rider. I'm always going to go full clickbait, man. You know that. And Z Black Rider, unfortunately, it works. It works, man. I mean, look, it works. It works. So you're seeing that narrative where people are saying, oh, this is what Game Pass is going to do to the industry. Now, I don't agree with that. Again, I don't think that's the case. But I think what you're seeing is that narrative going around now where people are like, this is the Game Pass effect. Microsoft's okay potentially releasing games that aren't finished in Game Pass. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's the case. Although maybe well, you know what? Maybe it would have been the case, like with Halo Infinite, because if they were going to release Halo Infinite last year, that game was day and date Game Pass. What about that? So anyhow, so internally, the team didn't want to make Halo Infinite on the older, although they wanted to scrap the older hardware, the Xbox One. They wanted to focus on the Series X. That didn't happen. They were having challenges, having to develop the co-op campaign on multiple hardware SKUs. And now here we are, fast forward to August of 2021, and we find out that campaign co-op is not being rolled out at launch, and neither is Forge. And so you see this narrative here. I see it in the live chat. Someone's saying Game Pass is low the quality of games Microsoft makes. I don't agree with that, because I think that the challenges with Halo Infinite are bigger than just Game Pass. It's the studio. It's 343i. It's the leadership there. Clearly, there's something amiss there. There's something going on that has impacted the development of this game. And by the way, I tell you why I don't agree that Game Pass has lowered the quality of games, because Gears Hive Busters was actually really good. And unfortunately, no one played it in Game Pass. I mean, I was popping rare achievements for opening doors. So, um, so I'm still sorry, guys. I'm still trying to look for this exact quote from Optimus Code. I can't find it on Twitter for some reason, but I saw it this morning. I don't know what. Anyhow, I love how people create sock accounts on Twitter to like tweet at you. It's so weird. All right. Anyhow, um, Z Black Rider says Sea of Thieves is one of the biggest games out there. It is, but mostly because, but it's Z Black. It's big primarily because of the PC platform. Now, again, I mean that's it is what it is. But so so here we are, and I don't know. This whole thing's been a mess. It's like what is going on here at three? Like this is the part that I am struggling with. Like remember what I said earlier about Halo and Halo was always in the talk for game of the year contender. It was always like, hey, this game's going to be a 9 or a 10, right? Um, there was never any question of that. And here we are 20 years later. This is Microsoft's flagship title. And I'm taken back by the fact that this game is in trouble or has had development trouble, I should say. Now, I'm not saying that this game is you know it's just going to bomb. It's just going to be terrible. I think the multiplayer is probably going to be where this game shines. But I got to be honest with you, I'm concerned about the campaign. When you hear internally that the studio wants to internally that people at 343i wanted to delay the release of the campaign, that tells you something. That tells you something. And how I mean, how do we get here? I mean, this is and this is an iconic franchise, Microsoft. An iconic franchise. And I never thought in 20 years that we would be having a conversation like this about Halo. Just never thought. Never thought. Remember, think about if we were having, Mario, and I see people are saying COVID. It's not because of COVID. Look, and I'll get to that too. The excuses that the hardcore Xbox community is making. You guys really need to stop it because you guys are doing more harm than good. You guys are damaging the brand by not calling stuff out for what it is. It's okay to be critical of the things that you enjoy. As a consumer, it's healthy to do so. But like imagine dude this okay. I wasn't going to address this. So we got this guy Gander Lad who says COVID. He says, "Do you think COVID had no effect?" This game's been in development for 6 years. 6 years. 6 years. Has COVID been around 6 years? They were getting Gander. They were getting ready to release this game last year, and now you want to throw out, oh, but COVID. It's not because of COVID. This is what I'm talking about. Stop with the foolishness. Stop making excuses. It wasn't because of COVID. I mean, like what? Like why are we doing this? I mean, think about this, guys. Halo. Imagine if Mario screwed the pooch with. I mean, Mario. Imagine if Nintendo screwed the pooch with Mario. Imagine if Sony screwed the pooch with The Last of Us. And there was all these issues. If there's all these issues of development, delays. Imagine if Naughty Dog showed us something on par what 343 showed us last year. Imagine if Nintendo showed us something on par. Last year. I mean, last year with Mario. Imagine that. Come on. Really? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Big shout out to my BRAP brethren there, B Money. B, if you want to hop in, man, join. Got Mooch in the house. I mean, like, we got to stop with excuses. It's crazy, and that's my point. Like Halo, an iconic franchise, is on the. It's on the ropes here. It's like what's happening? Why are people okay with that? Got a key in with the $5 super chat. Says not a Halo fan, but it seems to be Sucker Punch. Put more love and care to a brand new IP. Ghost of Tsushima than 343. Put it to Halo Infinite. Thank you for that super chat, Akeem. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is an iconic franchise, and I'm not saying that this game. I think the multiplayer is probably going to be fine, but I have some reservations about the campaign. I really do. And I said this earlier in the year. I thought this might be the worst Halo game to ever launch, and people laughed at me. And maybe it won't be. But Halo, at least from what we can tell so far, what we've seen, has had a lot of development issues. And when there's development issues like this, when you're hearing that the developer wanted to delay the campaign to get more time to work on it, and now you see co-op campaign, and don't tell me that to the hardcore Xbox fans out there, and stop with the I wasn't going to play co-op campaign, so it doesn't matter. Let the developers have time. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. Stop complaining because someone like me who has played this franchise for the last 20 years, who has an expectation of quality based on the history of this franchise, suddenly we should be quiet? I should be quiet? Really? Come on. Co-op is such an integrated feature of co-op campaign is a big integrated feature of Halo. It is part of Halo's DNA from day one. So for anyone to sit there and downplay co-op not being a big deal, sure, is it the end of the world? No, but it's a deal. It's a deal. And if you don't think it's a deal, you don't have an appreciation or understanding of the history of Halo. You're probably new to the gaming streets. You don't understand what people did when they played Halo campaign and co-op. The first time I played Halo Combat Evolved, I sat on the couch with one of my best friends playing co-op campaign. Wow, we were blown away. I mean, this is okay. This is the nonsense I'm talking about here. I got to call you out here, Z Black Rider. Before the internet, maybe. Bruh, when were you born, man? The internet was already around when Halo 2 came around. I mean, why are you defending this? I don't understand this mentality. And look, if you don't care about co-op campaign, that's fine. But there's a lot of people out there that do. There's a lot of people out there that care about campaign. It's part of Halo's DNA. It's what people expect. Everborn wants to come in. Everborn, you can come in as long as you don't bring bot brain into the conversation. I'm just joking. I just got to say that because Optimus Code was saying that. I thought it was pretty funny. Give me a sec here, Everborn. Hold on just a sec here, man. I will send you a link. But I mean, again, to my point though, it's just, yeah, I just, it just really blows my mind that we're having this conversation about Halo, and just never in my years of gaming did I ever think that we get to a point where that we'd be talking about Halo like this. Like, what happened? It's wild. I don't get it. I don't get it. Z Black Rider, that's not why Microsoft. He's saying Microsoft knows exactly how many people use co-op and decided it was less eager. That's not why. The issue has to do with developing across multiple platforms and getting campaign co-op to work seamlessly through different hardware SKUs. It doesn't have anything to do with, again, we're making these assumptions and to try to. Oh, let me get Everborn in here. What's up, Everborn? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Yeah. Look, I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm not being nice anymore.
I don't think you were ever being nice about Halo, but go ahead.
No, I'm not being nice in general anymore because the stuff that I see and Ever, you've been. I don't know I think we're probably close in age.
I'm 39. I'll be 40 in December.
Okay, so I'm about 5 years older than you.
Okay.
Where Code is like 35 years older than you.
Hey, such is life.
And such is life. Hey, look, senior citizens game too. I get that.
Hey, we almost there.
Yeah, my guy, isn't that crazy? Almost middle age.
Listen, I'm planning on getting that new Corvette in a couple of years to deal with my midlife crisis. So,
bro, I hear you, man. I hear you. Look, man, I'm throwing off the gloves, man. Because look, man, I love Halo. I really do.
So here's the thing, if I may.
Yeah.
So I think that there are two lines of thought, and I think that we in the gaming community tend to think that just because someone disagrees with us, that means they're sort of counsel warring, and it's not that. I think this is it's a complex decision, not complex, but I think you are valid in saying this is unacceptable. I don't want to play it if it's not co-op. This concerns me. They had a year. You're completely valid in that thought. And I've been saying this for days. For anyone who this really affects, I like don't play the game until it is in the state that you want it in. And they will see that in the numbers. However, right, the other side of it is there are, I don't know if you know this, but there are actually people who will not use co-op, right? And if you look right now, I'm not making this number up. You can go look right now on your Xbox app and look at what percentage of people completed just one level on co-op in Halo 5. It was 7.65%. And the number of people that completed the entire game in co-op is 1.22%. Right? And I'm not saying those people don't matter. But what I am saying is for the people that want to play it, whenever it releases this year, should it be delayed for the people that need co-op? So should the needs of the few outweigh the wants of the vast majority? And that's my question to you, sir.
It was delayed because they were having development issues across the board, having developed co-op and even multiplayer for multiple SKUs. And they're still having issues.
They are. But are you on
Sorry. I'm not saying that. First of all, I'm not saying they should delay the game. I think whatever they have, they should just release it. They have to at this point if it's ready. But there's a chance they may release stuff that's not ready.
And they will deserve every piece of smoke they get.
But my point is this, and I look, I'm not saying everyone's console warring, but there's some familiar faces I see that are
true
on Xbox centric podcasts, and you know who you are. And I see you guys like championing Xbox and capping for Xbox, and Xbox is great. That's fine if you think Xbox is great. My point is, you could think Xbox is great. You could also, as a consumer, levy criticism. But some of the stuff that I'm seeing, the defense force out there, is nuts.
Yeah, but
it's nuts. And that's kind of my point. Like, and that stuff hurts the brand. That stuff hurts the brand. And I say that because if you sit there and you say, you know what, I'm okay with games, not having a certain level of quality, or you know what, oh, it's not a big deal, COVID, COVID is the reason why. I mean, you see this stuff. You see it. It's like, let's stop that already. Like, let's stop with the,
I think, but here's the problem. I think that, again, back to what the community does as a whole, because this is not limited to any side of this debate. A lot of us keep telling people what to be mad at. Right. So if something bothers me about any particular subject, let's say this co-op situation, or people say that they're mad about $70 games, whatever it is, we keep saying, I'm mad about that, so you should be mad about that. And if you're not mad, then you are the problem. And I don't know. I'm
not saying you should. I'm not saying they need to be mad. That's fine. If you're like, hey, I don't care, fine. But when you see people saying, I keep hearing the word accountable thrown around today. Who the F do you think you are? Stuff like that. What's wrong with you people? Don't you know we're in a pandemic?
No, but that's what I'm saying. They're trying to invalidate, your feelings, or the people who feel like they want co-op, and that's wrong.
But what I'm saying is instead, here's the thing though. It's not about invalidating how people feel about co-op. It is about what's up, B Money? It's about capping for corporations and making excuses and fanboying out. That's what I'm talking about. And if you don't care about campaign co-op, that's fine. But all this stuff, all the excuses, it's got to stop. It doesn't. And I say it's got to stop because it doesn't help the brand. If the majority of people start accepting things that maybe, like, think about this. Halo was an iconic franchise. And if we're having this conversation, that doesn't like that. That
Well,
is
let me
that
ask
is
you a question.
mind blowing to me. And the fact
So,
that go ahead.
sorry, no, finish your point. I'll come in. It's
No,
not.
and it's not about again. It's not that what I'm addressing again is the fanboy stuff,
Right.
and there's a lot of it, and I've seen people say stuff like, "What about?" Then it becomes, "What about is what about the Last
That's
of
what I'm
Us
saying. This is
2?"
about
Not
this
have,
is about Halo.
so,
It's not about Last of Us 2 features
but
it's
what I'm
Halo
saying is,
right now.
but people are using that as an excuse rather than saying, "You know what, Microsoft, this Halo better be good. I
It
want good
better.
stuff. It better be good
I I
because
I tweeted the other day like this campaign better be flawless. Because for me, and I'll just tell you because like accepting a thing and understanding a thing are two different things, right?
here's the
So
thing, again, I don't mean to interrupt, but like we got this
yeah,
guy, look this guy right here. Like, look, this is stuff I'm talking about, and I've tried to be put like PC about stuff. I'm not doing that anymore.
yeah, PCMR. You tried to be about it.
Yes, exactly. Like, look at this. Well, I mean, what does this mean? I mean, like, really, like, like what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, I see. This is the thing, man. We keep doing that. Like, it's
I mean,
cool
it's. I
that
mean,
people are not happy about this, and they should voice that opinion,
yeah,
right?
but look, I mean,
It
but
don't mean that you are in the bag for Sony. It's not. We keep
no,
doing that to each other, and that's what I want us to get away
yeah,
from.
Yeah,
we,
and that's
but
kind of where
go
I'm
ahead,
at
B.
too.
Go ahead,
It's
B.
like you can be fine with Halo coming out however it comes out this fall or winter or whenever it releases. And you can be upset that some of the core features that you have been accustomed to are not there. But at the end of the day, like we all are fans of the game. So we should recognize both sides.
Yeah,
The people
Yeah,
who are cool with the game coming out the way it is, you should be like, yo, I understand why you mad. You know what I mean? We do have to hold them to a higher standard. This is not the game that they've released in the past. They've always released co-op when the game releases. So yeah, you know what I mean. I support the fact that you are upset that you know what I mean a core feature that you've been used to is not going to be there when the game releases. And we should also validate the people who are like, yo, I'm still excited. You know what I mean? They are releasing a campaign. They are releasing multiplayer. Like most people don't even care about the campaign. They go straight to multiplayer when the game comes out. So there's a fan base or a group of fans are gonna, gravitate to a certain part of the game anyway. At the end of
that's
the day, we
true.
just got to respect each other because we're all fans of the game. We all just are getting different things out of the game. It's the same thing with any other game.
yeah,
Same thing with the 2K community. Like there's people who only play online. There's people who only play my team. There's people who only play my player. You know what I mean? And we all have gripes with the game. But at the end of the day, we're all still fans of the game. And, you know what I mean? We got to respect each other at the end of the day because we want the product to be better. We want it to be the best that it can be. But if we all just taking shots at each other because, you know what I mean, we ain't getting what we want and the other side is happy with whatever they're getting, then what's the purpose?
yeah. And that's a great point, B. And what people probably don't understand, like my concern comes from a place of like of just being a fan of Halo. And yeah, I joke around they should kill Master Chief, stuff like that. But
Watch your mouth.
but in reality, I mean, like I Halo is one of the most iconic franchises, right? And there's very
In
few.
all of gaming, it
Think
is
about
one of
that. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, all of gaming, and it's relatively new per se. It's not as old as like Zelda or Nintendo, which are other or Nintendo. I mean, Zelda and Mario, which are other iconic franchises. Final Fantasy, which is an iconic franchise. Metal Gear Solid, which is an iconic franchise. It's not as old as those franchises, but as a fan, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I feel like something's amiss here, right? With these issues, right? And what I'm saying is, instead of just it's like if you are fine with multiplayer, that's all you care about. That's cool, great.
All right.
My point is if you are going to make excuses like COVID and like people need to shut up and give these developers more time, that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Like we should just. It's okay to demand better, to be like, hey, you know what, guys, I'm a little worried. But it becomes in a situation where it's this high fanboy mentality, And I don't. Did I ever share my story with you, B Money, and ever about my years of console warring on the GameSpot forums?
Yes, yes. I thought you were going to say your years of Xbox Live beta testing, but yes.
Well, that's I look. I know the mentality. It becomes a situation where it's like it's not about gaming as it is much about just winging an argument or trying to show those Sony fans what's up, that we're just as good or that we're better. And it's like it's not even about all that. It's about gaming. Period.
I think there are people that are genuinely concerned. I think there are people that just want the campaign if it is ready. But there is that other subset of people who don't care on either side of it, right? But they're just looking at this to say, this is an opportunity for me to drag down the competition, or this is an opportunity for me to go into defense mode to damage control, as you say. So for me, I just wish the conversation could be centered around the real people and debate the merits of the delay versus not delay from the people that don't have the separate agendas, right? And for me, and by the way, you may not know this, BRAP, but I was also an Xbox Live beta tester back then. My Xbox Live username was Romeo RX2, and I'm sure you can understand why I changed that. But I was right there with you. Right?
Yeah.
So I understand. I've been on Halo since day one. It is my second favorite franchise in all of gaming, only behind Zelda. So I want this thing to be great. But I do feel like if we want to, put on our big boy pants, right, we have to be able to say, look, we either want to give the developers the time they need to do what they want to accomplish, or we don't. Or we say you had a year and that's it. It doesn't matter what happened. You have a year. And I'm on team, give them the time they need. But if main features are ready, then we should be adult enough to accept that, because they're not cutting out the entire feature. And that's the way I feel like a lot of people are talking about it. Right? The feature is coming. I think in 3 months, and I think Porter Rock said this, in 3 months, this will be much to do about nothing because the feature will be there. But I
6 months apparently.
Well, 6 months for the Forge and 3 months for co-op.
Yeah.
But is anybody really mad that the Forge is delayed? Like, does it, not saying like it's not going to come, but like, I think we'd be in a completely different space right now if it was only the Forge delayed. Co-op is a big issue. I think people could wait for the Forge. I mean, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, or you guys correct me if I'm wrong. This is really about co-op. The conversation is not about the delay of the Forge.
It just, here's what I think though. I think what we have here though is, and I get, like, to an extent, like, let developers take their time to do stuff. I get that. But they've been working on this game 6 years, right? At this point, they were going to release it last year, and that kind of worries me a little bit. Like, what were they going to release? But I think it's not just that it's co-op campaign and Forge that is missing. I think it's just another thing, another thing to throw in the fire, right? Where this game has had some development issues, clearly, right? And it's Halo, and I think it's shocking for some people, and I think this just kind of is the straw that broke the camel's back, per se, where, like, we knew there was problems, but holy shit, now this game's launching with a feature that it's always had at launch. That's not happening now. Like, wow, like, what's going on over there? And then we hear about that the developer did want to actually delay the release of the campaign, because they want more time to work on it. They just want to release the multiplayer and then release the campaign at a later date because they want more time to work on it.
Now, see,
and Microsoft said no.
Prior to all of this even coming out, prior to them even showing the game, there's rumblings that they wanted to do that anyway.
Yes.
They wanted to release the multiplayer and the campaign at a separate time.
And Phil Spencer had to come out and try to tell everybody to put away the pitchforks. But I'll say this right now. if the campaign gets delayed, like I'm right there with you, BRAP, right? Like I don't think they should completely cut out the campaign. I'm just saying, I think that would be like a travesty, but that's me being selfish because I know personally I'm not really going to be in the co-op camp because I don't like people, right? But
at least
if for me, this is the only way this is acceptable, and I don't know if it's acceptable yet. If they made this sacrifice so that they could focus their resources on polishing the campaign to where obviously it's not going to be flawless, but it needs to be stellar. It needs to be 343's best campaign and maybe Halo, one of Halo's best campaigns. That's what it needs to be. If it is not that, then bring the pitchforks out as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going to give the campaign a shot. I don't want to wait for it for co-op, and it better be amazing. And if it's not, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna do an Everborn rant.
No, I mean, like seriously, I have hopes.
Let me ask you this: so with them going in a direction of making it more open world and having different objectives that can be completed in any manner, how are you feeling about that? Like, do you think they can put together a great story around that?
I think they can. I don't know if they will. Meaning, I think that it's possible, right? So, and I think that is a departure from what Halo traditionally has been. Right, and I am on team Halo needs a change. It needs a shock to the system. So maybe that is the change, but I don't know yet because they've been so cagey about the campaign itself. Because even that little thing they showed us a year ago, I liked what the gameplay loop looked like, aside from the graphics, but the gameplay loop itself was cool. But that really didn't tell me much apart from I'm going to have a grappling hook. So right. I need to see what it is. And I don't know if they're hiding it because they're cynical that no matter what they show, people are going to be upset, or they're hiding it because they're scared of what they have. And it's not up to snuff. I have no idea, but I want to see it.
Let me ask you a question, man. You said that maybe they're afraid to show it because everyone's going to be cynical, right?
No, because they are cynical.
Oh, they're cynical. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Meaning they believe that everyone is going to pick it apart, whether it's good or not, and they want to be risk averse.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, that's a problem.
This conversation would never. This is and this is kind of my point too. Like, wow, like this is Halo, and we're having this conversation.
Well, let me just introduce one more item into the foray here. This is sort of the cost of being, and I know a lot of this got leaked because of Glassdoor interviews, but I do think they have been much more transparent, for better or worse, than a lot of other projects, right? And so this is it. If you want to see behind the curtains, game development can be a mess sometimes, right? That doesn't excuse it, but I think part of the reason we're having this conversation is because they have been a little more transparent, and we are either big enough to handle that and judge things based on when they come out, or we got to react to. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I'm just saying, for me, I appreciate the transparency and I appreciate the messiness. Like the first Last of Us, how long was that in development? Or the second Last of Us 2, how long was that in development?
Yeah, it was like about six or 7 years, I think.
And they brought in outside support to help, and there was a large budget and many people coming in. But Sony is actually very good about keeping a tight lip around their project, so we would never really know that whether it was good or bad. We just judge it when it comes out, and then we say it's a hit or a miss. You know what I mean? So the idea that this is 6 years in development, that's not a knock on it, right? Like, it got delayed, and again, maybe the answer is Microsoft should shut the hell up and not tell us anything. But well, I think that you know, I think I would like it if more you know, game developers and devs were more sort of open about the process, and then we can all, see things for what they are and judge them when they come out. What were you saying? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, the 6-year thing is I think one of the reasons why that's brought up quite a bit is because of the issues, and I get like we're not, maybe Microsoft shouldn't, they should be a little more tight-lipped, but they did go out of the limb and show us this game last year, and this is the crazy part.
I think that was a mistake. I think they should have just not said anything and delayed it, not showed it and delayed it. I mean,
but here's the thing. The thing is that they would have released the game how it was if the reception wasn't as bad. If the reception was cool, the game would have released last year, regardless. Because I feel like at that moment they kind of built up the hype to it. They showed us the game and they thought like they had a winner. And then when people was like, "Yo, what is this?" They had to take a step back and be like, "Oh, okay, this is not what the people want." And that's why it got delayed.
I can't believe that they felt like they had a winner at that time. I gotta believe this is just me, because I'm sure not everybody at Microsoft is that tone deaf to think that they had a winner at that time. I wonder if it's sort of battling ideologies and management and business getting in the way of what the devs are telling them.
Well, I'm sure that has something to do with it.
I tell you what, it is B money. They see these guys on Twitter just capping for everything. They're like, okay, we can release it. They'll love it. They'll eat it up. They'll defend it.
No, I'm telling you, they felt like they had a winner. They felt like what they showed looked amazing. And when people push back on it, they were like, oh, okay, I guess we don't have one. You know what I mean? I think that shocked them a little bit because it took a second. It took for everybody to start doing the Craig memes. It took for, it kind of hit mainstream media where people were talking about it. And then they came out and made the announcement.
You know what,
I felt like they were kind of in a role. They kind of had like their marketing. All the marketing was set up. Doritos and everybody got Halo all over all their stuff.
Yeah, I think it's the marketing team and business and whoever else is like, yo, the chief is on the box.
Right.
You need to put this out whether it's ready or not. You can fix that in post. Right.
But here's the thing though, like I don't know if you guys know this, but the higher ups didn't even see that trailer. They saw it when we saw it.
But
and we're like, whoa, wait a minute, what is this?
I do think another part of it is, and this is going to remain to be seen, like what is the balance between giving creative freedom and sort of self autonomy to your studios and having like ruling with an iron fist and say we need everything like this. I think I'm not saying that they need to like, okay, we're going to have the ninjas come in and step over your shoulder and watch you work. But they also maybe need to do a better job to say, hey, there needs to be a This Ain't It Chief team for Xbox Studios.
So right? Saying there was no quality control before they released it?
I'm not saying there was none, but there was nobody to tell them, nobody with enough rank to say, hey, don't do this.
Yeah.
Right. And some of these things, and Phil is the captain of the ship, so it ultimately comes to him no matter what you say.
Right.
No matter what anybody says. But some of these things are even above his head. He has to take the whatever for it. But I think the delay probably cost them $1 billion when you think of all the marketing and all the sales that they would have done. And that's a big deal for them to take that. I know, Microsoft has a lot of money, but $1 billion is probably still $1 billion, no matter how much money you got. So,
right.
And for me, I just think that ultimately, I think these things are positive, right? Because what do we want as the gaming community? We look at a thing and we say, we don't like that. That ain't
bangers,
right? So they say, oh, a year ago, community, our customers, this is not up to your standards. We pushing it out a year. And then they said, well, we're going to look at this, and we know that co-op is not 100%. So we're not going to put it out. We're going to delay it because they want the product to be better than whatever it is today. So all in all, I know like optics is terrible, right? But all in all, isn't that what you want for them to say, for them to know before us seeing it and saying it's bad? They internally recognize that and said, we're going to push out those features because they're not ready yet.
Let me grab the super chat real quick, and I'll let B Money answer that question. Gamer O'Brien with a $5 super chat says, "Good morning, BRAP and panel BRAP. I have questions for you when upgrading Ghost of Tsushima to PS5. Do trophies pop automatically?" Yes, they do pop automatically. Actually, I forgot to do that with my Ghost of Tsushima yesterday, on Friday, and yesterday, and I'm like, wait a minute, and then I did it, and yeah, they do pop automatically, and yeah, so. Thank you for that.
I'm going to be playing Ghost of Tsushima for the first time. I'm kind of excited about that.
Oh my God!
You're in for a treat, man.
You're in for a treat, man. Go ahead, B Money. I know you give you a chance to answer whatever more was his question.
See, for me, like, I'm one of those guys. I'm cool with it if they would have just released the multiplayer. So, like, for me, like, I can understand everyone's gripes. You know what I mean? About it's cool to release the game how it is, or like the people who are mad that the co-op isn't there. Even the people who are mad the Forge isn't there. Like, I can understand all of that. But to me, like, release the multiplayer, release whatever part of the game is ready. You know what I mean? It's happened with so many other games. Like, that's just the norm of today. So to me, it's not like a huge deal. And I'm cool with them releasing. If multiplayer is just ready, cool. Just release that. And if the campaign has to come 6 months later, I'm cool with that too. You know what I mean? Because they've been developing the game long enough. You know what I mean? Just put whatever you have out, put your best foot forward, and gradually build on the game anyway. You know what I mean? The multiplayer is free to play. You know, the free to play market is just crazy these days. You know what I mean? Some of the top ranked games are all free to play games. So get out there, make some of this money back, make some of that $1 billion you just lost, as Everborn suggested, you know, with the marketing and stuff. Get some of that money back, and, you know what I mean, continue to work on the game and release the best parts as they become available.
If they are ready. Yeah.
Right.
That's
ready.
how I see it. Now, BRAP, are you on team delay or team there should have never been a delay? Or team release it when it's ready? Those are the three sort of camps that I see around this.
I'm on team make Halo great again. That's the team I'm on. And
but what if the delay of co-op is for that reason?
Well, I think, you know, yeah, it is for that, because they were having some challenges with development. You know, developing, integrating co-op campaign with you know, the different boxes, you know, the different the hardware, you know, the Xbox One, the Series X, Series S, you know, that's part of the problem. So look, I mean, yeah, get that right, because you don't want people having, you know, bad experiences when they're playing campaign co-op.
The Ascent,
you know, but all right. That actually, you know, that game's got a good foundation, I think, but
it does, you're right. But the co-op was absolutely broken, and I don't think they should have released that game with the co-op, because you couldn't even you literally couldn't play it, and then joining people's games would cause your single player progress to revert back to wherever they were. Right?
Yeah.
So that's an example of, and I know it's not the same. That's like a 12-man studio, and this is a big hundreds of millions of dollar game, but the principle is the same. I don't want them to release it if it's not ready. So my only question now is, do you delay it for that, or do you release that later? That's really where this whole conversation goes around for me.
I don't think they should delay the game any longer. I think you release what's ready now at this point. Clearly multiplayer is probably ready. I think that I think obviously you're gonna have the hardcore you know, Halo fans playing multiplayer, but I think going in that free to play space on PC, Console. I do think that they should probably, and I've heard this may happen. They need to have some kind of battle royale mode. I really believe that, to really keep that engagement high. And the reason why I like Warzone is because it's such a dynamic experience where it's so different each match, that it keeps you engaged. Like
Right.
like you play capture the flag, right? It's pretty much capture the flag, right? There might be little nuances in terms of battle strategy, things like that. But in a game like Warzone, it can be so unpredictable at times, you know.
Yeah, I do
It could
think
be so it could be so depending on what kind of drop you get, what kind of weapons you get, what kind of loot you pick up from someone. There's so many different dynamics to that game that make it unique each time you play it. I think that Halo would benefit from having a battle royale, in that regard, especially because it's in that free to play space, and the biggest free to play games right now are what?
yeah, no,
Mostly battle
it's
royale
true.
games. Yeah.
But judging
And
by
that's not a knock against Halo, by the way. I'm just saying I think that it would and we talk about like changing Halo, or kind of adding to it in addition to make the game even better. I think that's one way to do it.
yeah, for me, I'm hoping they adopt something like the raids that you have in Destiny. Right. That to me, if they're going to do this semi-open world thing, it stands to reason that hopefully something is like it works a little bit like that, because I don't want to see this open world that they make for the campaign only be used for that single player and later on co-op experience. I'd like to be able to add some multiplayer elements to that hub world map.
Some more PvE stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if BRAP, if you've seen my KD ratio in the in the flighting preview, I'm not that good against humans.
Yes, you got owned by bots apparently, which is
I did.
I mean,
and it wasn't even the Spartan bots.
Oh my God! All right, no, but look, I don't think they should delay anymore. I have some concerns about campaign. I really do. Like, and look, I know people are there. You kind of have two camps. You have people that only like rock with Halo for multiplayer. You have people that only rock Halo for campaign. I lean more the campaign side because the lore for Halo has been so good for the most part. Like Halo 5 was okay. Like I know people really poo-poo the lore or that the single player campaign. I don't as much. I thought it was
they
okay.
Just needed to give Locke his own game before they put him next to the
Chief.
Chief.
They probably should have. Yeah, probably should have done like a DLC.
Every level with Locke, I'm just like, okay, cool, but can we get back to the Chief? That's actually how I felt with Halo 2. Yeah. I didn't really want to play as the Arbiter. I spent all of Halo 1 killing those elites, and now I got to play as the Arbiter. Now, shout out to Keith David for doing that voice, and the character's amazing, but I just wanted to get back to the Chief in Halo 2, and that's how I felt all of Halo 5.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. That's a great point. I mean, so that's my thing. That's my concern is the campaign, because look, Halo is known for two things: great campaign, great multiplayer. Like when I was an Xbox fanboy, we used to use Halo as our prop. Halo, Sony doesn't have a game that has awesome campaign, awesome multiplayer. I mean, that's what was so great about Halo. It had two pieces of the pie, or two pieces of the puzzle that worked very well, right? And I think it's very rare that you see games that do that. I mean, like Call of Duty has done that to an extent. I don't think probably as much, probably not as much more recently than as they did last generation when Modern Warfare first came out. But honestly, that is,
I agree with you. I think that why I'm really looking forward to Halo, honestly, I think in the shooter space, all of them seem to be moving away from the story elements and the campaign part of it. And to me, I feel like Halo is kind of the last bastion of having a top tier campaign that is taken seriously along with the multiplayer. Right. So I hope that they nail this, and that can be, their new claim to fame, that they still care about story and campaign and adding to it. Now, again, if if this campaign don't hit, forget everything I said. But I think that's their in to be relevant in this new world, because Halo right now, listen, the fans are there. Obviously, it's going to make a lot of money, but it still needs to prove itself again. You know what I mean? And how it's going to do that, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I hope they do it by having a stellar campaign.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. RRD with a $2 Canadian super chat. Thank you for that. Says, your worry is valid, but it's okay to disagree too. Yeah, no, absolutely. But what I'm talking about is people just making excuses, and that's and it's not just on the Xbox side; the PlayStation side does it too. But I've seen some really bad takes about this Halo thing, really bad takes, and that's why I'm speaking out against it, because I'm like, come on, people, like, it's okay to ask for better. This is an iconic franchise. It's okay to have a high level of expectation for a franchise that put Xbox on the map, that was always in the conversation or talk for Game of the Year contender. I mean, you remember that, guys. B, remember 10s across the board, right, for reviews for Halo.
Those days.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, man. Honestly, I think I was having this conversation with OBM the other day on Boom Show. This was kind of their chance to actually have some potential at being Game of the Year. And some people will say it's a fluke because, Sony's not really going to be there with Horizon or whatever. But just the nature, if you look at the games this year and the sort of positive reaction towards the multiplayer, if the campaign hit, it seemed like they had a shot. But without this co-op thing, I think that's going to be held against it, and it's going to be a miss for them with this thing not being there. Now, again, for me personally,
I think it's still going to have a chance to win, just because when you look at the landscape of the rest of the year, what other game would you even consider to be your Game of the Year? If this game hit?
My Game of the Year is Death's Door, but that's a different conversation. If you haven't played that though, amazing.
No, that's a good. That's actually one of my favorite games so far this year. But yeah,
but they never give it to. If you look at the track history of Game of the Year, they always nominate like a small indie game just for the sake of looking like that, but they never win. Right, it's always the bigger game. So, and I think
Hades won. Not at the Game of the Year award show, not Keeley's show, but it did win some awards like in media and stuff for Game of the Year.
Okay. Yeah, I was more looking at Jeff Keighley's Game of the Year, but I know that it won in the specific indie category.
Right.
But it didn't win the main prize. So to that question, I guess you could say I don't think Returnal, because Returnal had a lot of bugs and it did put many people off. So and then Ratchet to me is a technical showpiece and amazing, one of my favorite games of the year. But I don't think it did anything really like new.
Right.
So I don't know if that. I don't know.
It's a Ratchet.
The only other game that you could consider would be Resident Evil. So like,
I don't like that game.
Well, no, Resident Evil. I was saying this before I played Death's Door. Resident Evil 8 was my Game of the Year.
Yeah,
I loved it. And if you play that game at night with headphones in the dark,
I like 7 better than 8.
I actually played 7 after I played 8, but
when you look at the year so far, like we've had so many delays, and there's been very few like big games that have been kind of notable. I mean, we had like the Outriders and stuff like that saw a pretty big audience, but like I wouldn't consider that like a Game of the Year or nominee. So you kind of look at the rest of the landscape. So there's going to be Halo and Forza. If Forza hits, like that should be like kind of a no-brainer to at least be nominated. But it's always hard to get like a sports
game.
Yeah, like a sports or racing game nominated as Game of the Year. So like that almost kind of gets like the shove to the side. So you have Halo. Like if I'm trying to think of like what else would what does Nintendo have coming up? Whatever Nintendo has.
But Breath of the Wild's not coming till next year, and
Right.
the only thing they really have this year is that
It's the
Metroid
Metroid
Dread,
game.
and
Yeah,
I don't
so
think that's gonna.
yeah,
I
so
mean,
like it's gonna be tough, you know what I mean, to kind of, in my opinion, to put a good group of games together for a game of the year. So I think Halo definitely has a chance.
yeah, but it would be
You think
that
Halo?
asterisk.
You think Halo Infinite has a game of the year?
I mean, what are
think
you gonna put it against?
if they if they have a good multiplayer and the campaign, if campaign gets a pretty good ratings, I think they have a chance. Like, what other game would you consider to be your game of the year?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I could see that. Like, but the campaign's got to hit though, man.
100%.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
As long as it hits, what else would you consider to be your game of the year?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think I still think Returnal might get a nod. Even though, like, obviously there were some technical issues.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be nominated.
I think it'll be nominated because of what it did for that roguelike genre, where it took it more, kind of like
3D space.
3D space. Yeah, I mean, and that and it did it. It executed it well, really well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that speaks to the talent at Housemarque. But yeah, I mean, I think Eternal's going to be up there for game of the year. I kind of agree with you guys. Ratchet and Clank, technical showpiece, but it's Ratchet and Clank.
I have a love-hate relationship with Returnal. The bugs killed me, and for me, it's all about respecting time. But I feel like Hades, it's also that kind of roguelike, but I feel like they kind of. I don't know why. I feel like Hades handles the sort of starting from the beginning aspect a little bit better, a little bit more in a more satisfying way. I always felt like playing Returnal, and again, I'm saying this, it is one of my favorite gameplay loops of the generation. But I could play that game for hours and then have a bad run or something breaks at the end. There's still a bug right now that if you can go back to the ship and the sleep function won't activate. And that just happened to me too many times for me to say, you know what, I'm giving up on this thing. Because I've put so many hours into that just to really be back where I started. Now, that could be a factor that I'm just not that good. But to me, that's the thing that rules it out of that conversation. I don't know if the people doing these reviews are as mad at it as I am.
Yeah. I only think Returnal can get it because of where Housemarque took that genre. It's not isometric like Hades. It brought it like BD said, like B Money said, 3D, and that's not easy to do. And bugs aside, I mean, they nailed it. They nailed it with that game. I mean, and if this was a different year and other games releasing, maybe Returnal doesn't get that nod, maybe for game of the year.
Yeah,
but
like I said, I think it's going to be tough to put like a great group of games together this year for the nominees, because I think they usually nominate like 6 or 7 games for a game of the year, and like there's been some pretty good games, but to me, like Death's Door is up there for me. Like it's all been like smaller stuff that I would consider to be like my game of the year. Like Resident Evil was a good game. Like I just because it's another Ratchet. Looks amazing, but they didn't do anything special, and like Scarlet Nexus was a pretty good game, but I wouldn't consider that to be like a game of the year. But like just because of the way the year played out, it might be nominated. So it's kind of hard to say. But I think if Halo has a good campaign and the multiplayer is good, they got a chance to win it this year.
BRAP, let me ask you a question. And this is, again, an off year, so there'll be an asterisk on it. But is the nomination, meaning the quality was enough to be considered as one of the games of the year? Is that enough in terms of meeting the standards that you're looking for? Or does it have to take the prize?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
Is the nomination for Game of the Year enough? Or does it have to take the prize?
The nomination for Halo Infinite?
Yes. If the quality is there enough
I
to get the nomination.
I think a nomination at this point is better than what we've had previously. You know, it doesn't have to take it, but to be nominated, I think is good enough. You know, obviously, you know, Microsoft and 343, I would probably want, you know, to win Game of the Year, and that would be a big comeback story, right? One that they could probably spin positively from a marketing perspective. But yeah, I mean, even if it's nominated, that's great. That'd be awesome for the game, especially considering, you know, the road that this game's taken in terms of development.
So that's sort of your bar.
Well, no, I don't think it needs to be Game of the Year. I think the game needs to be good, though. And good to me, at least, you know. You know, does it need to be Game of the Year for me to enjoy it? No. But this game needs to be, it's Halo. It needs to be good. It just needs to be good. It needs to be and outside of my, you know, my enjoyment of the game as a franchise, I think, you know, it needs to do well in the sense that there's a general consensus, you know, and that's why people say Metacritic doesn't matter. It does. You know, when if there's a general consensus around this game that, hey, it's one of the best Halos in years. Yeah, and I think that's important because the previous Halos have set the bar so high for this franchise, right?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, like, and I know you've already said you weren't completely down on Halo 5, but that game got an 85 when it came out, right? Like that was the Metacritic on it. That's not a game comes out, gets 85 now. That's pretty great. So I'm expecting at least that in terms of quality. Like, it needs to be better than Halo 5. And Halo 5, and if Halo 5 was an 85, it should be scoring high 80s, low 90s. That's what I'm expecting for it.
Yeah. What about you, B?
I think it'll probably fall mid 80s. Yeah, I would say like 85. Between 85 and 87 is probably kind of where it falls. If it falls lower than that, then we got a problem. Because if
it falls below 85, yeah.
Yeah, if it falls below 85, then we definitely got a problem.
And let's clarify before the people come in the chat, that has nothing to do with my enjoyment of the game.
No.
Metacritic is just a general consensus, and we all want Halo to be recognized as the GOAT that it once was. But because 343 and Microsoft have taken so much time off, Halo, unfortunately, with all its roots, needs to prove itself again.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys something, because big shout out to Gaming Addict, who's in live chat, said he doesn't see Returnal being nominated because it was released broken.
Wasn't that game like one of the highest rated games when it released?
It was.
Okay. I don't understand. I never understood that, because you are correct, but I don't remember hearing about any of those bugs in the reviews.
Yeah.
And I bought that game day one, couldn't wait to play it, and have not been so frustrated with a game. Because even when it wasn't my fault, then the game broke. So it's like there's nothing I could do.
You know, it's unfortunate because you had two camps in that game. You had a camp that didn't have any bugs, and then you had a camp that had bugs.
I think it's a third camp that pretended like they didn't have.
And then the third camp, then the third camp that probably did pretend. You're right. That's what. You know, there probably was a third camp. But you know, I was one of the lucky ones that didn't have issues. I was one of the lucky ones. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any issues with Returnal at all.
Hey, Brap, you know what'd be crazy?
Yeah.
If the Dark Horse Abandoned ended up winning Game of the Year.
Oh my God! Don't say that, man. That would be funny, though, right?
I couldn't stop laughing if that happened. You know what? That's what I'm rooting for right now.
But I also wouldn't be mad if one of the smaller games actually won it this year.
That's what I was thinking. B.
I think Death's Door deserves it.
Yeah,
I think so.
If
I like
Death's
That's
Door
the one
won it, I wouldn't be mad at that.
That's the underdog hit that I hope wins above all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Death's Door. I think if there's going to be a year, and again, I'm speaking just where I think we should probably clarify. I think we're probably, speaking to the Game Awards, right? Keeley's show.
Right.
But I think if there's going to be a year for a smaller game, an indie game, to win, it's this year, Death's Door.
Oh, but don't forget about, because I know it's been a few months. It Takes Two could be the sleeper hit.
Yeah,
that could be it. Yeah, It Takes Two could be it. Yeah. Watch Iki Island get nominated Game of the Year. People will lose their minds. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, like I think the smaller titles definitely have a chance this year.
I think so too, man. I agree with you, B. I agree with
you. Addict says if Halo don't win it, Village will.
I mean, Village could win it this year. Absolutely. I personally, I think I would prefer Death's Door. I just found that game to be more enjoyable, and it spoke to me more than Resident Evil Village did. I mean, you played Death's Door, and it's like, woo.
The score Zelda alone.
Vibes. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, who's playing 12 minutes right now?
I'm not playing 12 minutes yet.
I haven't started it yet, but
I'm playing Iki Island.
I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people really like it, and a lot of people
polarizing.
Not really messing with it.
Well, okay, so it's a point and click adventure, right?
Yeah.
And they call it 12 minutes. I don't know why, because the loop is 10 minutes, and you can get really stuck, and that can be really frustrating. But it's not because the game is broken or anything. It's just that if that story doesn't intrigue you, that's the whole game. So if you don't like that and you stuck in that same loop, I completely get why a lot of people don't like it. And I'm trying to do it without, looking at any videos on what to do, because I feel like that's the whole game, like figuring out what you could do differently. So I'm pretty high on it right now, just as a sort of a kind of a unique experience based on what we get out today. But I think it's worth checking out. But when you get stuck, like a lot of people, like I sent my brother on it, and he's like, nah, this ain't it. I can't shoot the guy that keeps coming in. I'm not playing it no more. He played like 3 loops, and he's like, don't ever recommend me a game again.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, man.
That's funny, man. Yeah. So look, I didn't think we'd get it to Game of the Year contenders, but that's actually a great conversation to have, because before we know it, December will be here, and we'll be talking about Game of the Year. That will happen.
We know it. March will be here, and co-op will be out.
Yep, that's right. So, but yeah, look, I want to first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone in live chat for hanging out. I haven't ranted like this in a while. But and I appreciate Everborn and B Money, you guys coming on here and bringing some different perspectives to the conversation. So I appreciate you, gentlemen. And everyone, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And remember, just enjoy video games; they're fun.
Yeah, man. Stop fighting over this stuff and fight the bad guys in the games.
Exactly, that's what my kid says. Is that a bad guy, Daddy? You gonna chop his head off?
She went straight to the decapitation.
Yeah.
History lessons in the BRAP household must be very serious.
He saw it was my 7-year-old. He saw me playing Ghost of Tsushima, Iki Island, and he's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Dad, is that you? He's got a katana sword. That's awesome." I'm like, "What? How do you know what a katana is?" Apparently he knows. But he's like dying to play that game. I'm like, no, you can't play this.
Do you play dubbed or subbed?
No.
Which one? I'm saying.
Which one?
Oh, I thought you meant a game. I didn't hear what you said. I thought.
I said, do you play dubbed or subbed?
I play. I go back in between both.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna play this like I watch my anime, and it is dubbed.
Sometimes I don't like reading, like if it's in Japanese, I don't like reading because I feel like I can't, like, there's certain like dialogues like that when there's like dual dialogue going back and forth, I don't like having to like read it. I kind of want to like be able to kind of like watch the character and like the characters engaging with each other. So I'll turn Japanese voice acting off. But I would say that's probably the best way to play the game, though, in my opinion, with Japanese voice acting.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, but I hear you.
That's how I have mine. I've played it sub the entire time.
Yeah.
Do you do the Kurosawa black and white mode?
I haven't, but I said that if they ever do a new game plus, that's how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. I haven't played that mode either, but I'll definitely try it at some point. So, but Everborn, again, man, thank you for hopping on, man. I appreciate it as always. Please let everyone know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, man. Everborn Saga everywhere. That's PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on there a lot, but most importantly, YouTube. Check me out on YouTube. I do a show every Thursday about TV and movies. It's called On the Reel. And we kind of talk about this video game stuff, but for TV and movies. That's every Thursday at 8. But most importantly, check out everbornsaga.com. If you're into anime and manga, we have an amazing series called, you guessed it, Everborn. We got 4 chapters out right now. We're ready to release a new book at the end of this month. So good times. And BRAP, you got the book. You can speak to the quality, but it's everbornsaga.com.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, great content, man. Like I gotta say, man, you guys are doing great work. And I won't let my kids want to read it. I'm like, no, you can't touch this. Is that bad? I'm like, no, you can't. Stop. Don't even think about it.
So no, I'm gonna send you a complimentary copy of Ariel's Adventure. It's good for the kids at that age.
Cool. Yeah, appreciate that.
Prince of Arcadia is more like Game of Thrones. It's a little bit more high. It's for a higher age group, but the Ariel's Adventure series is like for those kids that are just getting into it. So that's the one if you want to get it for the kiddies.
Oh no, that would be cool, man. I appreciate that, man. Like, yeah, because they wanted to read it. I'm like, no, and look, the artwork and everything is just fantastic, man. Like you guys are super talented, man. Like that's just because I that's not something I could do. I have a great appreciation for it. It's awesome. Just keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got my man B Money 101. B, always a pleasure, man. Missed you on BRAP this past Wednesday. But great to see you here in the Rant, man. Always a pleasure, just talking video games to you, man. Let everyone know they can find you.
Yeah, man. I unfortunately won't be there this week either because I'll be in Vegas, but I will definitely miss you guys and we'll be listening. But you can find me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101. And just remember that I did tell you guys that Call of Duty would be announced and later revealed again on Jeff Keighley's show, and that's exactly what's happening. So when I speak, y'all pay attention, man.
Yo, B's not lying, by the way. He did say that. And you guys should when B's on and he says stuff, just trust me, listen. Because a lot of it does come true, believe it or not.
And he said Halo has a shot at Game of the Year. So I'm listening to you on that, B Money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Maybe B knows something we don't know. So, but not B. We'll miss you on Wednesday, man. But yeah, man, have a blast in Vegas, man. That's awesome, man. God, I haven't been out there in a long time. Definitely over a decade. I need to get back out to Vegas at some point. But yeah, no, everyone, have a great rest of the Sunday. Appreciate it. Go check out the Iron Lords. They go live here in about 20 minutes. So check them out. And we'll be back on BRAP next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And on that note, we're out. Peace.
Peace.